because I have known him for a long time. He is a good man, he's a committed man, he's a caring man, he completely believes in service to the people. He knows, exactly as the Queen knew, that the monarchy rests on this notion that duty comes first. And I think, you know, he will be, if we let him into our hearts in the right way, he will also be a great rock of stability and support for us.
Certainly when you think about the Queen at the beginning of her reign, at the end of her reign, we talk about her continuity, which of course she was a great symbol of, but also she changed and evolved over those years. And for example, I mean, think about the sketch she did with Paddington at the Platinum Jubilee. That was her showing her sense of humour, but that was a moment of real modernity and accessibility.
Yeah.
She managed to keep the monarchy modern within a very traditional setting. How difficult is that, and how do you think the new king will be able to do that?
The single most difficult thing, when you have a country like Britain, which feels a strong attachment to tradition, and yet the world's changing around us, so we're modernising at the same time, to be able to straddle both of those elements of society, to be able to keep people comfortable that their traditions are being upheld, and at the same time comfortable with the vast changes that are going on. I mean, that is very, very, very skillful. And the Queen, in a way, made it look easy, but it was never easy. We are attached to our traditions. On the other hand, we're not so foolish as to ignore the way the world's changing, and how you marry those together and keep them compatible with each other. That's the skill that I do believe that King Charles will have in the same way that Queen Elizabeth had.
You mentioned after the death of Princess Diana, which of course was a difficult time for the royal family. Another thing that struck me today, seeing King Charles out with the crowd, is people were singing the new version of the national anthem, they were cheering him, people were falling over themselves to shake his hands. He had a wonderful reception. And there will have been a time where he won't have been as sure of that kind of reception from the public. So I imagine that would have heartened him and cheered him enormously.
I'm sure he will feel very heartened by the reception he had. Look, we all know there were difficult times in the past. But I think it's not just out of respect for the Queen, but I do think people feel that over these years, he has proved that he is a committed person. He has done a lot for our society and for our country. I think people have come really to like and admire the Queen Consort, Camilla. And therefore, I think he will be heartened by it, but I think he's earned it.
He was famous for what were known as the Black Spider memos, where he, and you, I know, received many of them, where he would write his thoughts about current events, environmental issues particularly. There are issues, as we know, he feels very passionate about. How do you think he will combine that passion and that desire for change with the role of the monarch?
I've got absolutely no doubt that now he is the monarch and the head of state, he'll behave in the same way as the Queen. I mean, when he was the Prince of Wales, you know, he wasn't the head of state. I think I personally used to get a lot of these letters and find them useful. People always used to say, well, you must have thought, well, why is he writing to you, and is it his role? And I say, no, I find it useful. He used to write to me sometimes about the farming community, issues to do with the armed forces, you know, issues to do with the environment. I never minded. And actually, a lot of what he said made a lot of sense. And I think, but he will understand that now he's in a different role. And I think you'll find that as the head of state, you know, he knows what to do. I mean, this is someone who has watched his mother over a very long period of time, and he will know what to do, and he will do it well.
One of the key things that Queen Elizabeth II achieved was her work with the Commonwealth. She brought more nations into the Commonwealth. She also is a unifying figure for the nations of the United Kingdom as well, and that's going to be very important, isn't it, for Charles III?
Yes, it will be important to keep all bits of the United Kingdom together, because the Queen was respected, you know, whatever people's politics, she was respected throughout the UK. and throughout the Commonwealth for sure. But then, as Prince Charles, he did a lot for the Commonwealth, and as King